I'm Jennifer with MT Business Technologies. I'm going to show you how to use your new Xerox color device. So first, a little bit on the outside of the device. Everything is going to be face up in the document feeder. It holds 100 originals. If you need to copy through the bypass tray is going to be on the left-hand side if you're doing labels, envelopes, anything like that. When you put the document into the bypass tray, you're going to get a pop-up on the screen, and it does show the size, the type, and the color. So if you go to size, you can select the correct size you're loading. The type will allow you to select if you're running cardstock, labels, anything like that. That way you will not get any misfeeds if you are running that type of paper. So you would make the appropriate adjustment and press confirm. So that's a little bit about the outside of the device. As far as your features go, you will be getting your swipe card where you can tap your swipe card on the device and it will automatically log you in. At this point in time, we're going to go ahead and use the manual login to get logged into the device. So I'm going to touch the keypad here in the corner, and it's asking for login details. So I'm going to put my number in and press OK, and then it will ask for a PIN. Press OK again, and we are now logged into the device. So if you do need to log in manually, those will be the steps. However, if you have your cards, you can just tap it and it will log you in automatically. So at this point, you're going to go to Access Device. And this is going to be the main home screen that you're going to be using to use your new features. So what we'll start out with first, we're kind of work our way from the right to the left. If you are wanting to print out a print job that you have sent to the device, you're going to select this print release icon, and it will pull up your information that you can select from that list, the items that you need to print. So again, that's by going into the print release icon, which will be right here. Beside that is going to be the email icon. So email is scan to email. So we're going to select email, and it's going to have a pop-up, and you're going to go to device address book. So at this point, you can either scroll through to get to the address, you can look at the alphabetic letter to look someone up, or at the very top you can do a search where you start typing in the name. And I can pick search, and it automatically brings up that individual. The other option that you have, if you are looking for someone, you can also select more than one person at a time if you need to scan to multiple locations or multiple people. So you can select that. On some of the devices, you can select add recipient after that and keep adding those individuals. So at this point, I can put my originals in face up, and you can simply select send. However, you do have some other options down below. You do have the option here, I didn't mean to select that. The subject line and the PDF itself default to say scanned from Xerox multifunctional printer. However, if you want to name the document yourself, you can select where the paper clip is. It automatically gives you a keyboard where you can actually type the name of your document, press OK, and then press send, and it sends that with the name attached to it. Same thing with the subject line. It does default to scan black and white, so even if you have a black and white device, you do have the option of going into this screen and you can select color. So it will do color scanning on the color devices and the black and white devices if you have a need for that. Two-sided scanning, if your originals are front and back, we can go here and pick two-sided. And then original type, you can go in and tell it text, photo. It'll improve the quality of that scan. And then underneath it, you do have lightening and darkening. So those are pretty much going to be your main features for scanning. If I'm doing something and I'm going along and I want to reset, let's say I didn't mean to touch that key, I can simply scroll to the bottom and press reset here. And that will clear out those settings that you just selected, but it doesn't necessarily log you out of the device. So again, that was by scrolling to the bottom and picking reset. When you're done, if you need to get onto another feature, you can just simply pick the home key, and that gets you back to that home screen. The next option that we'll go over is the copy screen. So if you do need to run some copy jobs, you're simply going to put in your quantity and press start. This is a Xerox color device, so we do have the option here for color. So if I go in here, I can make the selection of color or auto detect. The auto detect is nice to use if you have a stack of documents, some originals that are black and white and color. This will know the difference between the black and white copies and the color copies and charge accordingly and use the toner accordingly. But otherwise, the devices will be defaulting to black and white. Two-sided copying, so you have a couple options here. First one is going to be single-sided to two-sided, so that's when your originals are single-sided, you want them front and back. Second one is when your originals are already two-sided and you want two-sided copies. The last one is going to be two-sided to one-sided, where it takes a two-sided document and flips it back into single-sided pages. So those are going to be your list of items there under the two-sided copying. Paper supply, this just basically shows you a list of trays that you have available. The bypass tray is going to be at the bottom, and it doesn't necessarily say bypass. That is going to be considered tray 5 on the device, is actually the side bypass tray on the left. So if I want to copy to that tray, I'm just going to simply select tray number 5, or I can choose a tray, but otherwise it does default to auto, and you shouldn't have to select a tray. Collation, this may also say finishing. This key right here could say finishing or collation, but what that simply means is all the Xerox devices default to collate or sort, meaning if you put in 3 pages and put a quantity of 10, it'll automatically go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So collation will automatically collate your sets for you. If for some reason you do not want those sets collated for that particular job, you can go here and pick uncollated. Also, if you happen to have one of the Xerox devices that has staple and hole punch, that will also be under this key here that will say finishing. You will select that option and it will have your staple and hole punch features along the screen here. Reduce and enlarge is underneath that, so if you need to reduce and enlarge, it gives you a few percentages here, but again, if I go to more, I can choose a percentage, or I can simply go up and down in 1% increments to get specific if you have a need for that. So that is going to be under reduce and enlarge. Original type, once again, is where I can tell if it's a photo, text photo, map, just gives it better quality from that original. And here we do have lightening and darkening if you have a need for that. So your main features for copying are just going to be at the top of the screen here, your two-sided, your collating, reducing and enlarging. As you scroll down the screen, you kind of get into the more advanced features, but your main copy features are going to be here at the very top of the screen. If I do need to just reset the quantity, I meant to put in 4 and I accidentally put in 10, I can just X that. That resets the quantity, but not the features. If I want to clear out the screen altogether, I can once again scroll to the bottom and pick reset. Going back to the home screen, you will also be getting an icon on the home screen that is going to say odd size. So there will be an icon that says odd size, and what that's used for is if you have to do any copying off of the glass, if it's a paper, newspaper clipping, or maybe even it's an 8.5 by 11 document that's stapled, it will be lined up on the glass like so. You would close it, select the icon that will say odd size. It'll have a pop-up for a quantity, and it will just force that document to an 8.5 by 11 tray. So again, when you're copying off the glass, rather going into the copy screen and pressing start, what you're going to do is use the icon on the home screen called odd size to make that copy off of the glass. But otherwise, everything is going to go through the top, and you're going to use the copy screen. Basically, the other feature that you have here is the jobs icon. If you want to delete a job, you can do so from this screen. So it's just basically a job status area for your copy and print jobs. At this point, if you do need to log out and you're done, you can simply tap your card to log out. If there's someone standing there and you need to log out immediately, it will log out itself after 60 seconds. Or I can select my name here in the corner and choose log out on the screen here. But otherwise, you can also tap your card, and that will allow you to log out of the device.